what's that? So you're reading SportsCenter, and I'm talking with Kristi Scales, the legendary sideline reporter for Cowboys radio. And she's like, it's dirty.
It is dirty.
So it sounds like something bad. It's not D-I-R-T-Y. It's D-U-R-D-E.
Now, see,
and then the first name is where. See, he's British, right? And so it's Adden.
It's not Aiden.
Yeah, Adden.
Adden.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just screwed that completely.
No. Well, he just did it anyway. So what the heck? No, actually, it's a big loss to the defensive staff, honestly, because really well respected, and I've known Coach Dirty since he was he interned with the Cowboys in around 2013, 2014. He came over from London. A lot of what's happening with the International Player Pathway Program. A lot of the fans, you remember Isaac Alarcon, who was with the Cowboys for a couple years, and a lot of things that are happening. NFL Europe, Adden's been a big part of. He played football over there and then later in NFL Europe, and then got into coaching and has been, with the Falcons, for example. So he kind of came along with Dan Quinn when Dan Quinn came. And so he had that short stint with the Cowboys around 2013, 2014, then came back when Quinn took over as defensive coordinator. But a really good relationship, strong relationship with the young defensive linemen and helped develop those guys. We have the nice mixture of youth and veterans. And to get guys like Adante Fowler, for example, who was a first-round draft pick but is a role player, a backup and role player, part of the rotation as a pass rusher, to get those guys to buy in. I think a lot of that is a reflection on your position coach. And so losing Adden, I think, is going to be big.
See, that's going to be tough, Kristi.
Yeah, I think so too.
Adden. I mean, the Adden. No, it's going to be tough to lose him, too. I don't mean that. But for my purposes here.
Well, it's so interesting, though, is we get so many people that correct us. And if you don't know, it's like, all right, well, you would know. You would know.
Yes.
Because he was saying dirty, and I was it RJ Ochoa who corrected?
No. It was somebody else. It was Shireen Williams told me it was dirt. She said dirt. And so
well, it happens.
It happens.
He's left.
Nobody told me about
it. Adden's used to it.
Nobody told me about Adden, though.
No.
That's going to be tougher than dirty.
But wouldn't you love to be Coach Dirty?
Coach,
Well, it's funny.
You got dirty players. Yeah, those are my guys.
Whenever I interview, I always try and dirty, try and make it sound
dirty,
phonetic, and not like we're trying to say something we shouldn't say.
The important stuff, Kristi Scales, because you've worked with the Cowboys a long time. If the reports that we're all hearing are actually true and a contract gets signed, Mike Zimmer will be the defensive coordinator. I feel like I'm one of the few that's excited about this. And basically, I was excited because I know Dat Wynn, who used to work here, is very close with Mike Zimmer and a big fan of the way he coaches and what he does defensively. But it seems like the reaction from Cowboy Nation is this is a dud for Jerry Jones.
Well, I think that they want a splashier name in terms of young, hot coordinator or an up-and-comer instead of bringing back someone that's so familiar. But Zim, I am excited about it because I've known Mike since he came to the Cowboys in '94. My first year was '91. I was a producer back then, but got to know him and his family. And I just remember people think, oh, well, he was one of Jimmy's guys. But no, actually, Zimmer's first year was under Barry Switzer. And so this is back when it was Butch Davis was the defensive coordinator. So there were still some people on the staff. If you remember when Barry Switzer came in, it was still mostly Jimmy Johnson's staff, although some of them were getting picked off for head coaching jobs. Dave Weinstadt had left for the Bears a couple years earlier. So Mike Zimmer has the one Super Bowl ring from the 1995 season. So when he first came in, he was an assistant position coach. He worked under Dave Campo. Dave Campo was the secondary coach. And Zimmer came in as the assistant to position coach Campo. and specifically working on the nickel. And then when after Butch Davis left and Coach Campo became the defensive coordinator, then Zimmer was promoted to secondary coach. So he worked with the DBs. And then later, when Campo was promoted to head coach with the 2000 season, that's when Zim was promoted to defensive coordinator. And he stayed. He actually became a Parcells guy.
Oh,
and
well, that's good.
If you remember when Parcells came in for 1 year, he kept a 4-3. But by the second season, I believe it was Parcells' second season, that's when he wanted to go to the 3-4. Parcells, his Giants teams and all that. You guys remember with Harry Carson and Lawrence Taylor and all that, Carl Banks. Anyway, so they switched to a 3-4. So Zimmer had to make that transition. But I think it speaks a lot to the respect that Zimmer has had in the NFL, still has, and the way that he's able to take the personnel and suit it to them. When you have Bill Parcells' trust and he keeps you while you're making a major change like that, I think that says a lot for Mike Zimmer.
No doubt about it. You think this is going to happen? It just sounds like there's some I's to dot and T's to cross.
I know that the negotiations have been going on for a couple of days. I don't know if I can say that. So
sure.
I will whisper it.
It's just between us.
That has been going on for a couple of days. So I don't know if anything will get announced. Today speaking as someone with Cowboys, we have an event this afternoon out here in Las Vegas. That's a sponsor sales related event. And I know the Joneses are out here now. They came in late in the week. And so I don't know if, again, you have to get, as you said, get the
lawyers involved.
That's
T's
right.
crossed and the I's dotted.
Yes.
And finalize the negotiations. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they wait and make the official announcement next week.
Well, Jerry wouldn't want to steal the limelight.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's why you should think that the negotiations are still going.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, we hear there's a party tonight that Jerry's throwing.
Yeah.
Is Zimmer going to be there?
Hey, with Zim, he'll be the guy over in the corner with the stern look.
Yeah.
So is he going to be sitting next to Tim Spence?
The exact look that Tim has now is the one. Here's the thing about Mike Zimmer. I learned so much from Mike when he came in and he was the position coach working with the DBs and, of course, later as coordinator. But he could take the same 4-letter curse word and use it 7 ways in a sentence.
So he is
Noun,
Tim Spence.
Verb.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So, but he's very intense. It's going to be a different kind of, we'll say, attitude because you don't want it to sound like Dan Quinn was loosey-goosey or anything.
No,
but it's less Powley and kind of, hey, and it's going to be he's an intense guy.
I know Jerry is all about the publicity, good, bad, and different, as long as you're talking about us, right? We deal with the Spurs. Barely any media access. Talking to guys that played for Zim in Minnesota, you do your obligated stuff. Do you think Mike Zimmer would be the one to have a conversation with Micah Parsons about, if you're going to do a podcast, maybe you shouldn't throw your coaching staff under the bus. Maybe you shouldn't throw your teammates under the bus. Maybe you shouldn't do a damn podcast.
See, it's an interesting dynamic these days because the younger athletes, you can't get away with stuff that you got away with in the 90s, And it's the same thing, the teachers that may be listening right now. Heck, HR people in corporate America that are listening right now know exactly what I'm talking about. These younger generations, they don't put up with that bleep, So it's going to be interesting, but I like Mike a lot, personally and professionally. Last time I saw Mike was under less fortunate circumstances. His son, Adam, who followed him into coaching and was on his staff with the Vikings, and before that had been with New Orleans and with Kansas City and was with Cincinnati. Unfortunately, we lost Little Zim, Adam. We always called him Little Zim. Adam passed away about 1.5 years ago. And last time I saw Mike was at Adam's funeral, even though it was in Coppell, because when little Zim grew up, that's when Mike and his family, they lived there near the Valley Ranch facility when the Cowboys were in Irving before moving to Frisco. And so I've not talked, and when you're at a funeral, you don't really get to have a conversation. So
do you think that's one of the reasons why he's been out this long? Like, I need to deal with this personal, and then I'll get back in when I'm ready.
Well, he had lost his wife back when he was with Cincinnati. And so I believe it's when he was coordinator of Cincinnati or I think it was before he became head coach of the Vikings. It might have been early in his tenure with the Vikings, but lost her tragedy. There's been a lot of tragedy that he's had with his family. And you hate because he's such a good person, nice person. And little Zim, Adam, was following in the family footsteps. Mike Zimmer is the son of a coach, and that was, football family all the way, right? Mike followed in his father's footsteps. Adam followed in his father's footsteps. And so I don't know that for sure, Jason, to answer your question, but I would find that very reasonable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. And now tell me again, it's Adam?
Adden Dirty.
Adden
Hey, who cares?
Dirty.
Because he's in Seattle
So
now.
the heck with him. We can mispronounce his name, right?
Yeah, Coach Dirty's gone.
Coach Dirty's
Coach,
out.
he did the Cowboys dirty and bolted for Seattle.
I find it fascinating, though, that the Cowboys have blocked a couple of coaches from interviewing with Dan Quinn in Washington.
Well, that's the thing. They still have the guys under contract, right?
Yeah.
And I was fairly surprised about Joe Witt Jr. leaving, just because he had, yes, he had the relationship with Quinn for a while, but his relationship with McCarthy was even longer, right?
Yep.
So maybe it's because he knew that he wasn't getting promoted to coordinator.
Yeah.
And he's kind of saw the writing on the wall. So don't want to speculate to that. And to be honest, being out here this week in Vegas instead of back home, kind of feel like you're removed a little bit from things. You're not in the building and that kind of stuff. So, but that I think that Joe just needed to take that next step, and unfortunately it wasn't in Dallas. He needed to move to do that. But it's just like in media. Coaching is a lot like media. Sometimes you have to leave because you kind of hit that ceiling and you have to go somewhere else to take the next step up.
Somebody who hasn't hit the ceiling with the Cowboys has been doing it a long time.
Oh, my God, I'm so stuck.
Great.
33 years, man.
33
Cowboys
years.
radio. So it's either remarkably consistent or in a horrible rut. So we're going to go with consistent. That sounds better.
Yes.
Yeah.
The worst places to be stuck.
There
than
you go.
working for Jerry Jones.
Yes.
Kristi Scales, the Cowboys' great sideline reporter who might have extra access to the Cowboys party tonight, right? Can you hook us up?
You know what? I actually have to leave the Cowboys thing early because I have tickets to U2 tonight.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dude, that is such a great
I'm
show.
so excited. Did you go Wednesday?
Yeah, no, I went in November.
Okay.
But
Here at the Sphere.
But yeah, don't go. Me and Joe will go in your place.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't leave a party like that early.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, maybe just grab Bono and the Edge and take them because Cowboys parties go a long time, so we can do the concert and then hit the good part of the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's true. Later the better with Jerry and Steven. That is for sure.
Exactly.
I can only imagine what it's like in Vegas, knowing what it's like in Malibu.
Yes.
Oh, actually, that's the highlight of the summer. I know that's why you guys do training camp.
Exactly, it is.
By the way, this giant bottle of tequila Herradura.
That's Emmett Smith.
Emmett
Yes, I know that he was here, but I just want all your listeners to know that it has not been. The seal is still there. It has not been unsealed yet.
Yes.
They may think the way you guys are talking, but no, I'm just saying that it's still.
No, we
sealed.
talk like this all the time.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, well, we got to be because Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks just walked by.
Yeah.
They're going to be on with us here in
Great.
a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah. It'd be good.
Break open the bottle for them.
I don't know if those guys would,
Actually, they're pretty. I know.
they're pretty healthy guys.
Teetotalers.
Yeah.
We know a few secrets.
Okay, well, I'll
about
take
them.
it then. Gosh, all right.
Hey, you can have that bottle if you find a couple of tickets to that party
Our
tonight.
final night in Vegas. I mean, it's perfect.
There you go.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
I
having me on.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Kristi
Kristi.
Scales here on the Blitz.
AA Best Bail Bonds. Big game coverage live from Las Vegas. Powered by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Synergenics, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.